All right. Welcome in to the Toilets to Titles podcast, episode number 46. It is our 2021 free agency preview. Free agency is coming down the pipe. Things are about to pick up real quickly. So we are here to help get you in the right mindset before that happens. With me today, my main man, my co-host, my all-time guy, Justin Stevens at JustinFF_. Justin, what's cooking? You're muted, my friend. Dropping the ball early on.
Yeah, I'm just a little nervous because I'm in my new environment. I'm in my classroom, and I've been here for 2 weeks now, back where I belong. So I'm much happier with life right now. So I'm living the dream, and so had a full day planned out for today. And our amazing new team member is here today that we're going to introduce later. But we were talking about how different our worlds are because he's in Australia and we're in America. So like we're getting our day started. And one of the things I'm doing this morning is decorating, designing my new classroom. Got the joke of the day for tomorrow up on the chalkboard. It says, unfortunately, since the quarantine, I can only tell inside jokes.
That's a good one. I like that one. I think that's one I'll use.
Yesterday's was where do cow farts come from?
Where do cow parts or cow farts?
Farts.
Oh God, that's completely different because one could be like a butcher joke and then one's just a dirty joke. Where do cow farts come from?
The dairy air.
That's bad.
Yeah,
come for the free agency talk and stay for the dad jokes.
That's right. We've got tennis camp or tennis clinic this afternoon with my son, and then
yes,
board game night with the family tonight. So I've got a heck of a day lined up for me. So I'm excited.
What board game we playing?
Let's see. She sent. We're gonna play Risk and Dominoes.
Things get serious when you play Risk, man. Things get a little serious. The trade discussion, all that stuff. When I play Monopoly, I use like all sorts of strategies I learned in fantasy football. Things get heated. I got a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, but I don't take it easy on them.
Yeah. I don't let them win, but I can assure you that in the game of Risk, me having a military background helps me absolutely none. It does not help me at all.
Okay. It's a killer instinct, man. You gotta have the eye of the tiger. But speaking of eye of the tiger, we got a new guy here who's got it. Our main guy, he's been a listener of the show, a big friend of ours. He was a Frankenstank member in the inaugural season, and we were lucky enough to add him to the team this offseason. It's our Aussie friend Matt at Matt Chew on the Twitter. That's MATCHHOO. Matt, welcome to the team. How you doing, my man?
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys. Happy to be here. Just pumped to be on the pod with you guys.
Excellent, man. And you're a Patriots fan. He's rocking the Patriots hat. He wanted to rub it in Justin's face a little bit. We got a Colts-Patriots rivalry going on. So that's a new dynamic we got going into this offseason. So you're repping the Patriots.
Well, I'm only repping it to hide the ball patch in my head because the light's dancing right on the ball patch. And there's no rivalry, really. It's more like I don't know, is it charity or something? Or are they a theatre club? I don't know. When the Colts win something, it can be a rivalry, right, Justin?
Okay, so anyhow, back to the show.
If you're not watching live, then you did not see Justin just cut Matt out. Justin's the power of the button, man. So you got to be careful.
So here's the thing about Matt and I, John was just talking about this dynamic rivalry thing we got going on, which is amazing that it just happened to work out this way. But we brought on Matt and the two Bens, and Matt is a Patriots fan where I'm a Colts fan. One of the Bens is a Vikings fan where Nate is a Packers fan, and the other Ben is an Eagles fan where John is a Cowboys fan.
Yes.
So we are definitely going to play on this. I have some plans for my my team breakdown shows this offseason, and we're going to work something out. We're going to figure something out for this dynamic because it's just crazy that it happened to work that way. But
it's good to meet me and Ben. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I was just gonna say it's good that me and Ben, be rooting on Twitter. It's good that me and him became friends mostly in the off season because it's been very civil. Like we have been very civil between each other. We're helping each other out. Like we're doing, different leagues we're in. He's asking me questions. I'm asking him questions. So like an Eagles fan and a Cowboys fan, like the Giants bother me just because Giants fans, it's almost like they want to see your team lose more than they want to see their team win. So like it's annoying, but it's also like I don't, whatever. Like they only bother me when we're playing them because that's kind of obnoxious. But also like whatever. And I live in New York, so they're not like the number one on my list. Washington football team, I actually like them. I actually like the Washington football team. I don't really know too many of their fans, so it's like we're a rival. But like I like the way they're being built right now. But when it comes to the Eagles, like we don't see eye to eye at all. I go to school in South Jersey, and there's a lot of Eagles fans, and it's like we don't see eye to eye. And me and Ben, though, we've been very civil. The friendship is blooming. It's right now we're on the ups. So in a few months we'll have to take a look at this thing and see where it's at.
Yeah. So with the introduction with Matt here, though, I feel like I knew that you two had a bit of a background through the trifocal. But I mostly know Matt through playing in his leagues and playing in other leagues with him. So that's why I was excited when I saw his message come through that he was interested to join the team, because we've had some pretty dicey stuff happen, especially between me and one other individual in one of the leagues. And Matt, as a commissioner, has kept such a level head, and he knows how to handle those types of situations, and he's been able to keep things civil between everyone. And so I know that he's a stand-up guy. So anytime that we can get a stand-up guy to join the team, man, Matt, I mean, here's to you, buddy. We really appreciate having you on, and we look forward to seeing what comes for you in the future, for sure.
Excellent. It wouldn't be fair if we didn't introduce our other guys. We got Nate at Nate_Dirt19. And then we got the Aussie Ben. He's at Live from the Ben. And then B Rudin at BRUDN19. I don't have it. I got to add it to the show notes. I'm such an amateur. But you know what I'll do? I'll throw it in the Podbean notes, the iTunes. No, you got it. Justin's got it. All right, so it's all on there. If you're watching the show live on YouTube, you could see all those. How you can listen to the show, we do this every week. You can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Podbean, Periscope, Spotify, our YouTube channel. Regardless of how you are listening right now, it would be greatly appreciated if you're listening via Apple Podcasts or Podbean. On there, if you look at the show notes, you'll see a link to our YouTube channel. Click that link. Go and like our episodes. Any episodes you listen to, any episodes you didn't listen to, you can like them as well. You're not going to get in trouble for that. They're not going to revoke your YouTube subscription. You can leave comments, subscribe, hit the little bell so that when we go live, you are alerted. That would be greatly appreciated. And then if you're listening on Podbean, you could hit like on the episodes. I don't think you can leave reviews. I'm not sure. But Apple Podcasts, you can. Give us a 5-star review. Throw in something good there in the notes of that review. And then take a screen cap of it, DM it to us on Twitter at Toilets to Titles. And when we're ready to start filling the second and the third Frankenstein League that we coming out this off season, those are the guys that are going to get in first. We're going to fill it with listeners, friends of the show, the people that have left some 5-star reviews. We're going to get them in the league. And also, some of them might get some free entries. I think last year was $25 or $35. We gave some entries away. And you leave a 5-star review, you're definitely a candidate for one of those free entries. And then, guys, I wanted to mention we are live on Facebook as well. We have a channel we have a page, Toilets to Titles, and then also I got a sports cards page on there, sports cards and memorabilia, called When a Family Breaks. Right now we have a few razzes. If you're not familiar with what a razz is, you buy a spot for like $10. 15 people buy a spot. Once it fills, I go to a randomizer. I go live from the page. I put the list of the people in there and the spot they bought. I randomize it, and the person who's number one gets it. Right now, I got a Trey Lance mini helmet. He's the talk of the town right now. Trey Lance signed mini helmet. If you want to get in on Trey Lance, go to When a Family Breaks. I'll put that link in the show notes as well. I'll also be on Twitter, and you get a chance. I think it's like $16 a spot, so not a bad deal, especially if you're a team like the Falcons or the Saints. Probably should be looking at him. All right, if you're a fan of them, go get that merch. Justin, you want to read our new membership with Primetime Sports Talk? You want to read that promo, bud?
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew it was coming up, so I've been scrolling through here trying to find. Oh, there. That's what I was looking for. All right, today's episode is brought to you by Primetime Sports Talk, your top source for all major sports content, including DFS, fantasy advice, and great gambling tips. Be sure to head to primetimesports.com to check out their in-depth analysis, exclusive articles, fascinating interviews, and explore the rest of their amazing podcast family. Again, primetimesports.com, your go-to spot for sports content. And I feel like maybe we may have dropped John for just a second, so I'm going to throw out here too. We're trying to make the thing. So hashtag getflushed. If you want to comment on anything involving at Toilets to Titles on Twitter, make sure you hashtag it with getflushed. And there was one more thing here. Nope, I believe that's it. John, I think we got you back.
Man, I must have had a premonition that I was going to cut out. And I passed it off to you right before. Like I knew my internet was sending me signals. My spider senses were tingling. I might have to read that. For some reason with StreamYard, what bothers me. I love StreamYard, but what bothers me is when I cut out, even if I'm not like the host on the channel, when I download the audio recording, it's that part is cut out instead of like everyone else who's in and you hear it clearly. Like that should be the feed I get. I don't know why that's not the case. So I have to go out and cut that. So I'm probably going to have to Primetime Sports. If you're listening to this and you don't hear that read, it's because I didn't do my job. I need to go back. I need to edit this show. If it's not in there, I'll read it, put it in post-production, and then I'll cut this whole part out so you wouldn't even know I said all this. So hopefully I remember to do my job. But all right, we got some buzz. We got some news this week. I want to start with Dak Prescott signed his contract, and Dak That Truck Up, man. Dak that thing up. Dak, Jerry, Steven, the gang is all friends again. The team's excited to have him back. They free up a bunch of cap space by signing him and then restructuring Lil Collins, restructuring Tyron Smith. They got some money, and they got their star quarterback. So, Matt, I'm going to pass it down to you first, man. We've been talking a lot. What are your thoughts on the Dak Prescott signing in Dallas?
Obviously, they had to sign him. I think it's a bit of a bargain with those voided years. I think his cap number's 21 or 24 mil. So it was just a no-brainer. And I think it's a good, signing for CeeDee Lamb, for Gallup, for Cooper, for pretty much fantasy. It's a win for everyone. I can't see a downside really, and for a real NFL, I think it just makes sense. And Jerry's pretty happy with what he's done. I think he's done well.
I think I'm cutting out again. All right, so Justin, what are your thoughts on the Dak signing?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a great deal. I think it's a great deal for both of them too, because with it being only 4 years, and we know that Dak has, or the NFL itself has a real opportunity to continue to grow. And so are all these salaries over the next 4 years. So he's got an opportunity to sign another big contract because he's still young enough. I mean, he's only 28 years old. So he's going to be 32 years old when this contract is up. And he's talking about getting another big contract again. So I think it was a smart play by him and his agent as well, on top of a pretty smart play for the Cowboys, because overall they now save quite a bit of money by not going out there and doing the whole 10-year contract type of thing like the Chiefs did for Mahomes. And it wasn't ridiculous, but Dak also, as good as he has shown that he can be on the field, he hasn't really proven with the win-loss record and that sort of stuff that he actually deserves that outstanding dynamite crazy good money. Just because the team would be crap without him doesn't mean that he necessarily deserves top-notch money, but he did still get a very fair amount in my opinion.
Dak's a dude. I think Dak's proven it. I think you look at his win-loss record. You look at his playoff record. He's got one win, but then you look at his losses. The defense gave up over 30 points, and then you go back and look at quarterbacks that have won games in the playoffs where the defense have given up 30+ points. It's not a lot. It's not a lot at all. He plays the game the right way. He's the first one at practice, the last one at practice. He's a guy you want leading your team. I might be a little biased, but I'm a Dak supporter. We needed it. And then also with the restructuring of those other deals, we got to shore up that offensive line. I know Matt was saying it helps Cooper, Lamb, Gallup. It helps Zeke. But now you freed up some money. I think they're going to put that into the defense and free agency and then maybe draft an offensive lineman in the first round. A guy like Slater, who I was on, but now this past week he had a pro day and he killed it. Rashawn Slater from Northwestern. People are starting to watch his film and they're going back and seeing how he did against Chase Young, and he's pretty productive. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes top 8 now. He might even push Penei Sewell for that first tackle spot. So, but Slater's got tackle, offensive guard, flexibility. So he's somebody we could throw inside, if they want to give Tyron Smith a shot. And then Tyron Smith he's getting a little older. He's got a lot of mileage. And then if he gets hurt again, they can move Slater outside. So this isn't a Cowboys show, but I'm excited about it. I'm glad because now I can start listening to Cowboys podcasts again because I wasn't. It was just I was so over this Dak discussion for about a year. I was done with it. So now, I'm starting to subscribe to all those shows again because I can start listening again and know it's not nonsense because everything prior to the contract was nonsense. Speaking of other contracts, you got Lamar Jackson coming down the pipe. You got Josh Allen coming down the pipe. A lot of guys are coming up. And I wouldn't – by the time within the next year and a half, this Dak contract is probably going to be 5th or 6th on the list of highest paid quarterbacks. But that's also how it goes. So if you're a fan of one of these teams, like the Bills, they got to pay Josh Allen. Do not panic when they pay him a lot because it's going to look a lot right now. That's how it goes. He's going to set the market. But then in a few months, someone else is going to set the market, and someone else is going to set the market. So you're only the top dog when it comes to finances for so long before it gets passed down, and now you're 2, 3, or 4. That's the way it works. All right, now let's move. We're going to stay in the division, NFC East. Jeffrey Lurie instructed the team to prioritize making Jalen Hurts successful in 2021 as opposed to creating a quarterback competition. Eagles are all in on Jalen. Maybe they'll bring in some wide receivers who can actually play football. And Justin, you traded for Jalen Hurts in the fictional league. So you traded with our guy Nate, who I traded Jalen Hurts last offseason. So Hurts has been through the whole Toilets and Titles team in this league. So Justin, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm glad that Jalen has finally found a home that appreciates him. So he's going to be loved with the Polk High Panthers in the fictional league. So he's not going anywhere. I feel really good about the trade. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about it, I'm trying to pull it up. And by the way, our boy AJ over at the Aussies, the Aussie guys. Yeah, he put up a new banner here for us, and I absolutely love it. So AJ, if you're listening, buddy, hats off to you. But yeah, so I'm trying to find this trade, making for some great radio here. It's a great podcast.
Well, we do know that the Eagles pick 6. So Justin, I'll let you get back up. So I'm thinking that they're probably going to bring in a wide receiver. So Matt, what are your thoughts on who they might bring in? You like have you watched Chase, Waddle, Devontae Smith, Pitts? You think they're going to go wide receiver down there in Philadelphia?
I've watched from a fantasy standpoint, not a NFL standpoint. So look, if it was me, I'd go Lamar. I think that's a no-brainer, but I'm not sure if he fits with their scheme and he fits with Hurts. But I guess he's pretty much quarterback proof. So if it was me, I'd be going Lamar. I'd be going all in on Hurts. I'm a big Hurts fan.
So you grab Jamar Chase, you're saying, to pair with Jalen Hurts?
100%.
Yeah, down in LSU, he's a big time one. He's an outside guy. He's physical. He's explosive, and he's like the belle of the ball. But there's a few guys who can play, but he's definitely the one. Him and Pitts are probably the 2 guys cut from the wide receiver 1 mold. And Kyle Pitts isn't even a wide receiver, but they're cutting that mold. And then you got a lot of guys who have some flexibility: Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Rondale Moore, Tylan Wallace. But Justin, did you get a chance to pull that trade up?
Yeah, but I was also going to talk about how with with Jalen Hurts, I don't think it necessarily matters so much about the whole weapons, because he does have a little bit of that running ability too. And I think we're going to see that a lot more in his second year as well. So
but you need to be threatened. You need to be threatened in order for a quarterback to be able to run.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Like I do think that they're going to pick up I do think they're going to pick up another weapon for him. They are gonna draft a wide receiver there. But that trade was actually Nate gave me Jalen Hurts and the 102. So I mean, if we're looking at it, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to get another quarterback right there. And then I gave up Antonio Gibson and Melvin Gordon were the big key components there. And then I guess the 107 also is a pretty big component. So he dropped back 5 spots because he's looking to get a running back in that area that he thinks will still be there. And I think it'll still be.
Noted. I picked 10th, so I'm glad. So I got the inside scoop on Nate right now.
Gotcha. Sorry, Nate. My bad. But yeah, so he's gonna be able to rebuild his running back core, which is something that really weakened him pretty heavily last season. And then I'm gonna be able to strengthen my quarterback core that was the main reason that I didn't quite make it into the playoffs last season. So I think it was a good deal all around, but I'm really excited for myself personally, because I think value-wise, if Jalen Hurts does pan out, I absolutely got the better end. If he doesn't, Nate got the better end, but that's how trades in fantasy football works.
Also, if you get a quarterback at 2 who ends up becoming a dude, like you're in good shape, man. Even if Hurts is quarterback 2, if you get a quarterback 1 with the 1-2,
it's most likely going to be Justin Fields. I mean, let's be realistic.
Saying it shares a name with you, man. It's meant to be.
Yeah, there you go. Now I just got to figure out how to get Justin Jefferson. Did we drop you?
I cut out there. Sorry, so I missed that in there. Okay. For a second.
I was just going to catch up on some comments then, but that's okay. I believe he was talking to Matt here when he said that
fit the Eagles.
When he said Jamar would.
No, he said I like Pitts. He said I like Pitts. He would fit the team because Ertz is on his way out, right? So that's going to lead us a little bit further down in our discussions. We're going to talk about the Trey Burton and the other tight end, Mo Cox. I think Dak holds the line as highest paid until next offseason. That's possible, Beryl, but it's possible that he holds that designation. But I do think Ravens and the Bills might be trying to get it under the pipe, getting those guys paid so they don't have to worry about it next offseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got to get Beryl's.
It could happen.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. I thought I was jumping in at the right time, but I had to get Beryl's comment up here as well, because I feel like Beryl doesn't know this yet, but he's going to be in the Frankenstank League again this year, or the new Frankenstank League this coming season. Like, I know, Beryl, if you're watching right now still, then I'm just going to let you know ahead of time you're going to get in this league, because we got to have the more Beryl we can have in our lives, the better off we all are. Trust me on that.
Man, and there we go. So it's the Phantom of the Porta Potty, Division 1. Beryl Joffrey has taken a spot. It's official. So, yeah. All right, Phantom of the Porta Potty. There we go. All right. Now, on to this next. We got some trade buzz. So, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Zach Ertz, Sam Darnold. Any of these guys? I know Russell Wilson supposedly, I was listening to some people, they were talking about Vegas odds, and I think like Russell Wilson trade destinations got pulled. Also, the Bears' odds to win their division went up, to win the Super Bowl went up. So there were some rumors that it was caused by maybe them knowing that Russell Wilson to the Bears was locked up, but that was like 2 days ago. We haven't heard anything since. So I'm not sure, but that's probably the most buzz right now. Deshaun Watson's on the back burner. Darnold's on the back burner a little bit. But do you guys have any thoughts? Matt, I'll pass it down to you real quick.
Yeah, just go ahead, Matt. I think we lost him again.
I think it's a bit of a bad line, but I'd love to see Wilson in Chicago. I can't see it happening. I think they're 23 mil under the cap, like in cap hell. So I don't know how they fit him in their cap, but if it could happen, I think it'd be great. It'd be good for Wilson and it'd be good for the Bears. Deshaun, I can't see him going anywhere. And Darnold, who knows? I've got a couple of shares, so I'm sort of hoping that the Jets are the Jets and they pass on Fields, but I think they probably take Fields at 2.
Yeah, so yes, definitely, and I hope they take Fields at 2, and I would be okay with him being around a bad offense for now. Like I said, I'm probably going to be drafting Fields myself in that Dynasty Rookie League. But as far as Russell Wilson goes, I really hope that this happens. I know it's not going to happen. I know he's going to stay in Seattle. He just signed that big contract. Fans love him. He's gonna end up staying. But if he did go to the Bears, could you imagine? Like, I feel like the Bears are actually only just a quarterback away, and he is one of the best quarterbacks. So I think that team could be a real heavy contender if they are able to line up Russell Wilson. Another trade rumor that I wanted to talk about was Zach Ertz. He's been rumored to be traded all over the place, and I have my destination and preference with the Colts. Because we do need a tight end, and he's got that rapport with Frank Wright. He's got that rapport with Carson Wentz. But have you heard of any other destinations for Zach Ertz, Matt?
Pats. He's a pass catcher, so it's going to be the Pats. No, I haven't really heard much on Zach Ertz, but I think the Colts is a natural fit. But yeah, the Pats are pretty much desperate for any pass catcher. So now that Cam's locked in, I'm not sure how that's going to look if you're picking between Cam and a rookie or Wentz or anyone really. Probably want to stay away from the Pats if I'm a pass catcher, but that's what we need. So.
Yep, that's true. So that could be a good fit. I think we need to get you some better internet, John. I didn't catch any of that.
It's driving me nuts, man. It's driving me absolutely crazy. All that being said,
can you just try to back out and come back in, and I'll go ahead and talk about the Zach Ertz to the Colts. Oh,
I did. Okay. I left and I came back in. I don't know why all of a sudden my internet's chopped.
I didn't even see you leave, but anyway, so we were going to talk about some free agents here in a moment, but that Zach Ertz to the Colts would actually affect a couple of big free agents for the Colts. Not big free agents. I take that back. Trey Burton and Mo Alley-Cox are not big free agents, but they are free agents for my Colts team. If we can get Zach Ertz in there, then that frees those guys up. But I believe they keep Trey Burton, but I also feel like they should keep Mo Alley-Cox. Like, that dude, like I said, I talk about it all the time on the show. That guy has hands the size of a Cadillac, and the guy will catch anything that's anywhere close to him. So there's going to be a team out there somewhere, because tight ends take a while. They take a while to develop in the NFL, and I believe he's like 27 years old. So he's just now starting to come into form. He's another former basketball player. So he still has a few good years in him, and I believe that he's gonna hit the map here pretty soon. But maybe it's with the Colts. Maybe they don't go after Ertz and it's the Trey Burton and Mo Alley-Cox show. But Jack Doyle does still have a couple more years left on his contract as well. But we need a tight end. We really need a tight end, and that's been a sore spot for this Colts team. But that's enough about mediocre tight ends. But that is a good little segue here to move into our free agent talk. If we want to start that, John.
Yeah, let's start some free agency discussion. I just had to go upstairs and shut everything down. Kids on the TV, shut it down. Xbox on, shut it down. I don't know why that would affect it, but yeah, I went upstairs. I was stomping it around, and I made some power moves. So sorry if I cut out for the last few minutes. Hopefully that's the end of it for this show. Internet sucks. Internet providers suck.
Yes.
But, yes, we could have a whole episode on that in general. Like, whatever. Okay. Free agency. NFL free agency is about to kick off. This is an exciting moment in the offseason. Things are buzzing. It should hopefully pick up some trade discussions in all of your fantasy leagues. And nothing's better than some good fantasy chat and some good fantasy trades. So let's start with the quarterbacks, the bells of the ball, even though there aren't too many. I know Cam Newton's on this list, but he just signed with the Patriots. He's returning for 1 year. And did we touch on this? If we didn't, Matt, what are your thoughts quickly on Cam Newton come back in for a season with the New England Patriots?
Yeah, I just touched on it briefly when you dropped on, but yeah, I was just saying that it's pretty much a no-brainer. I think he was such a soldier. He was such a Belichick guy. It was just all business for him. So it's a $5 million cap hit. I'm pretty happy with that. I just don't know how it affects if you're a free agent pass catcher coming to the Pats. I'm not sure how attractive it is to have balls coming from Cam. So that's still up in the air, but at least we've locked that down and we've still got plenty of cap left. So wait and see.
I like it. He played well last year before he got sick. Like you said, he definitely changed. I wasn't a big Cam fan, but lately I like the underdog, and I think he's been humbled. And I kind of now I'm rooting for him. You know, I used to root against him. Now I'm rooting for him. I'm also a Belichick guy, so I want to see Belichick succeed without Brady. But we'll see. They got some money. They're going to make some moves this offseason. There's going to be a lot of guys on this list who are possible targets. But all right, Mitchell Trubisky is a free agent. Right. So what are our thoughts, Justin? What are your thoughts on Mitchell Trubisky?
I mean, they're talking heavily about trying to find a quarterback elsewhere, whether it be Watson or Wilson or through the draft or whatever. Like, they're trying to find a replacement, but at the same time, Trubisky did have and has had the last couple of years a lot of moments to shine in Chicago. It's not that he's played horrible most weeks. It's just he's played inconsistently a lot of weeks, and that'll drive any coaching staff crazy. So I believe there's a chance they find another guy and they move on. But and maybe that guy is the next guy we're going to talk about in Jameis Winston. That's kind of where I'm leaning. But if not, if they don't go with Jameis, we might find Mitch Trubisky being the next big first-round draft pick that becomes a backup somewhere for 3 or 4 years, and then we don't hear from him anymore. There's so many different possibilities with Trubisky.
There's a lot of kids in the draft this year. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the draft, and I think that's going to make it a little harder on these free agent options. But where are some landing spots you think that Trubisky could go? I know San Francisco's a little quarterback needy. Denver's quarterback needy. New Orleans. You know, there's a lot of teams who could use a quarterback. Of those 3 teams I mentioned, Denver, San Francisco, New Orleans, where do you think is a good fit for him?
I feel like Denver's going to stick with Drew Lock. I do. I feel like maybe they bring him in there as a veteran to try to help push Drew Lock. I could see that. And again, maybe he becomes the backup if Drew Lock is a thing and he steps up, and maybe he takes over the starting spot. And next year we're talking about where Drew Lock is going to go. But I feel pretty strong that Denver wants to stick with him. That makes the most sense to me, really, is if they're going to bring in a guy or maybe like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think that would be a good fit in Denver, where he plays for another year and then gets benched halfway through the season for Drew Lock because
don't bench Fitz.
But I mean, we need another year for Fitz. We got to have another year for Fitz.
Denver, man, I've been ringing the bell. Fitz to Denver. It needs to happen.
And I'm okay with that. But I read somewhere on Twitter, and I don't know if this is right or true, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, it said that, and I should have just Googled it then so I would know and be informed for you guys. But Ryan Fitzpatrick has never made a Pro Bowl, and you have to make a Pro Bowl at least once to become eligible for the Hall of Fame. So we need another year of Fitz, and then we need to start a trend and get the man into the Pro Bowl so that this man can make the Hall of Fame. Because here's my definition of a Hall of Famer. Can you write the story of the NFL without this player? can you really write the story of the NFL without Ryan Fitzpatrick, the man that everybody loves?
You're reaching. You're reaching right now.
Do you love Ryan Fitzpatrick, John?
I like him. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Do you like Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Love me some Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's a dude.
Loves Ryan Fitzpatrick. Get the man in the Hall of Fame, damn it! Because when I go visit the Hall of Fame, I want to be able to see his jersey put up.
You know what? If he goes in the Hall of Fame, they should cut his beard and like somehow you know how with animals they do what is it called when they animal taxidermy? Like they got to do that with his beard. Just put the beard on like
maybe just the beard goes in the hole.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Full beard though.
So I'll make a better effort to Google this, fact check this, and make sure that all that is true. And if it is, we are going to start a trend, and we're going to get Toilets to Titles will be responsible for getting Ryan Fitzpatrick into the Hall of Fame.
The Pro Bowl, I can get behind that. I can get behind Toilets to Titles being responsible for getting him to the Pro Bowl. I
think all we need to do is make him eligible, and the fans will work the rest. So let's get him in the Pro Bowl.
One more thing with Trubisky to Washington. I want to stay on Trubisky real quick. What do you think of if he went to the Washington football team?
Are you talking to me? Mitch to Washington, I guess that makes sense, but we do have some other names on the list. Like there's a chance that they might re-sign Alex Smith. I mean, because they do still love Alex Smith. Obviously, they stuck with him all this time. We've got Andy Dalton still floating out there. There's a lot of names that could go.
Let's bring up the other guys. We got Dalton, we got Jameis, we got Fitzpatrick. So what are we thinking about Jameis, Dalton, and Fitzpatrick? Where do you like Dalton? I think Dalton would be good in San Francisco. I'd like Dalton out there with Shanahan, with that ground game, and then with those wide receivers who play the position like running backs, Ayuk, Debo. He's got Kittle. I think Andy Dalton could do decent out there in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think his play style fits that system really well, actually.
Right. And then Jameis. Matt, what are your thoughts on Jameis? Where do you think Jameis ends up?
I was sort of hoping he'd come to the Pats. I still think of these three names, he's probably the best slinger. So he's probably the one who would be a full-time starter. I think Dalton, I'm not sure what his cap number is, but he might be nice to hang around at the Cowboys. Fitzpatrick to Denver, I think that's meant to be. So, not sure who picks up Winston, but yeah, I think out of all those three left, I think he's the number one.
I'd love to see Fitz throwing to Judy, to Fant, to Sutton, to Hamler. Like, give the guy the plethora of options, and just let Fitzpatrick cook. That could be the new slogan. Instead of let Russ cook, let Fitz cook. Let him cook. Give him some weapons. Let him throw the ball around. Draft a good run like Melvin Gordon and Lindsey. Those are guys. But bring in like an ETN or somebody like that, Javonte Williams, like somebody who could scoot Kenneth Gainwell. Bring in somebody like that, make that offense a little more dynamic, and then let Fitz cook. Jameis, though, I think it'd be best for Jameis to stay in New Orleans. Justin, what do you think? What are your thoughts on Jameis Winston? And you can even touch on these other guys we brought up as well.
So Jameis Winston stays in New Orleans, then I do think that he can earn a starting spot, because as flashy and as exciting as it is to watch Taysom Hill play in as many leagues as I have Taysom Hill in 2 quarterback or super flex leagues, I still think that Jameis has the real potential to be the better quarterback when it comes to just an all-around overall quarterback with his ability. So especially if that LASIK eye surgery helped his ability to see defenses and read defenses better downfield. But one I really want to touch up on, though, is Jacoby Brissett. I can promise you that by the end of the 21 season, he's going to be starting somewhere.
Where?
I hope that it's with the Washington football team. That's Jacoby Brissett with the Washington football team. That's my hope. That's my hope.
Rich said Mitch to the Skins or to the Washington football team. Rich, you're going to get me in trouble for saying that, man. You wrote that in there. You set me up. Rich thinks that Mitch to the Washington football teams. I'm shaking my head no to. Oh, he's talking about Fitz. All right, so that's his thoughts. So Rich thinks that Mitch goes to the Washington football team. but Justin thinks Jacoby Brissett goes to the Washington football team. Maybe we'll do like a bathroom board between Rich and Justin, just for bragging rights, if either one of them gets up there. All right, now we can move on to wide receivers. Wide receivers is pretty loaded with names, but Allen Robinson, he's off the board. He was franchise tagged by Chicago. Chris Godwin was franchise tagged by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The top names on this list right now are Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster, Corey Davis, and Will Fuller. Those are the top 4 names there. Those guys are pretty exciting. I know, Matt, you guys could use some wide receivers up in New England. So which of these guys interests you? Which of these guys do you think actually has a chance to land up there in New England?
It's probably – I love Kenny Golladay, but I think it might be a Corey Davis. I think I'm not sure if we'll land Golladay now with Cam, so probably Corey Davis, Will Fuller, someone to stay at the top after that, that's looking real nice.
What do you, Justin? So of these guys I listed, what are your thoughts? Landing spots? Any of them go back? I personally think that Corey Davis stays with Tennessee. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he stays there. But I do think that Juju, Fuller, and Golladay are gone. They're not coming back. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so my logic here is pretty simple. Like, my favorite wide receiver growing up was Randy Moss, and he ended up going to New England and throwing a dagger in my heart. And then one of my other favorite wide receivers was Wes Welker, and then he went to New England and threw a dagger in my heart. Right now, I absolutely love Will Fuller. I own him everywhere. There's going to be a dagger in my heart, and he's going to go play for those Patriots. I feel it in my bones. I don't like the feeling, but I love Will Fuller. I'm still going to root for him, just like I did those other guys. But this Allen Robinson franchise tag, I think that's something we probably shouldn't overlook. I think that there's a good chance that franchise tag is happening for a reason, with very minimal complaints or concerns from Allen Robinson and his management team. They're not really upset. They don't seem to be too awful upset about this, and I think it's because they know of the talks of them trying to get another quarterback in Chicago. So if you do not own Allen Robinson, I think he's a guy that you might be able to get for relatively cheap still, at least for a few more weeks or a couple more weeks until the free agency dies down. Not even a couple weeks. I think it starts here in just a couple days, actually.
I think now Miami and the Giants. I think the Dolphins and the Giants, they need to be, spoken of when it comes to these guys. I could see Galladay on the radar of both of those teams. Both of those teams need a true number 1 wide receiver, and I think Galladay could be that for either of those rosters. So I think we need to. Rich thinks Galladay to the Raiders. The Raiders draft every wide receiver they could last year. I don't think they can bring in a wide receiver right now. They got to try to develop these guys. Brian Edwards, Henry Ruggs. They got to let these guys develop. They already got Waller. It's possible, but I think they try to let those guys develop a little bit. Green Bay, they're freeing up some roster space as well, so they might be trying. Rodgers is in his swan song. He's probably got 3 or 4 years left. You got Adams out there. Go get a true number 1. Put Galladay on the opposite of him. I'd enjoy that. Now, Juju, I've been saying all along, there's no smoke for this. So it's not like I'm reading the tea leaves here, but I think Juju is a Raven. I want to see Juju out there in Baltimore. I would love that for the rivalry, because I think when Juju's gone, I think all the Steelers fans that didn't want to throw him under the bus with all that dancing nonsense, I think they're gonna light the torches, and then they're going to throw him under the bus. Right now, he's still theirs, so they're hesitant to do that. I think I just heard some feedback. My bad. But I think I think that's phony. Don't throw the guy under the bus after he leaves. Be true to it from the start. But, Steelers fan base might be a little phony. So that's just some shots fired right there. But Juju to the Ravens would add some flame to that. Juju to the Ravens would add some flame to that. And I think I'd like to see Juju turn heel. You know what I mean? I'd like to see him kind of go from being the happy-go-lucky guy to use that fuel to fire him up, to be a little more tough and, just be a fighter and be a winner. And I think him and Lamar would be very exciting. So I'm really hoping that Juju ends up out there in Baltimore, because I think that helped Lamar as well. They got Andrews. They got Hollywood Brown, who's the vertical guy. They need another intermediate guy, and Juju can be just that. All right, so those are the top wide receivers. And then we have some other wide receivers under here. John Brown was released. Emmanuel Sanders was released. But we got guys like Tim Patrick, Marvin Jones, Watkins, Antonio Brown, T.Y. Hilton, A.J. Green, Alan Lazard. So you guys have any thoughts on any of these second, third tier wide receivers? I know, Justin, you're shaking your head yes. So what are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, I think I feel like T.Y. Hilton will always be a Colt, but obviously this is the NFL. It's a business. You never know. I feel like if they do end up letting him go in free agency, the Packers are that team that is a hell of a good fit for T.Y. Hilton. He is that Jordy Nelson type of wide receiver that finds the hole. He's fast, and he could build a rapport with Aaron Rodgers very easily. And I think they could do some real damage in his last year or two in the NFL. And like you were talking about Aaron Rodgers' swan song, it could be T.Y.'s as well. And I think that's a really good fit. So that's something that I'm actually kind of low-level rooting for, because I like Michael Pittman and I like Paris Campbell. I like what the Colts are doing on the wide receiver end for the future. So if T.Y. does end up leaving, I really hope it goes to the Packers, because like you said, they are looking for that number 2. So that's the guy I wanted to mention.
All right. Alan Lazard was noted on here. I'm not sure if any of you guys had put that on, but he's maybe Nate did. Nate had to dip. Nate couldn't make it this evening or this morning because
it was me, but it was just to talk about that number 2 wide receiver spot that is potentially going to open up, because even if Lazard is still there, they still need another guy. I mean, they've got, obviously you've got Devontae Adams, and
what about Sammy Watkins?
He's great for 3 games.
Do you think? Does anyone think like he? Have we given up? Is he not like? Are we giving up on Sammy, or is he an interesting option if he lands somewhere with a high quality quarterback? Like what about Houston for Sammy if they do keep Deshaun Watson? Like, I'm not saying he's a home run, because he's nothing. He's not a home run, but like there's something in there. And maybe that'll be enticing if he lands somewhere he could be a 1. Rich got Juju to the Raiders. Rich is taking all of them. If you're listening from home, we keep throwing this in there. But Rich is watching live, and he woke up real early with us this morning, so we appreciate that, Rich Gonzalez. So he's every wide receiver seems to be going to the Raiders. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to running backs. I'll be interested to see which one of these running backs go there and take his boy Josh Jacobs' job. All right, we got Aaron Jones, Chris Carson. Aaron Jones is the top tier guy, right? And then there's a bunch of tier 2 guys. We got Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, Kenyon Drake, James Conner, James White, and then after that is a bunch of Jags. Just a guy. So what are we thinking on Aaron Jones? My thoughts. New York Jets has kind of been up. Aaron Jones to the Raiders. I think the New York Jets have been something that I think if they draft a rookie quarterback, they want him to succeed. I could see them. They got the cap space. They got the Michael Pirine right now, but I think he's a 2. And if no one's there, I'm playing Pirine in fantasy because I can get him late, and I think he can catch the ball and do all things you need from a fantasy running back. But I don't think he's the best option for them. I think Aaron Jones would be. But Matt, do you have any thoughts on Aaron Jones, where he could possibly land?
From a fantasy standpoint, I think the only upside spot for him, or one of the only upsides, is the Seahawks. I think if he's there, replaces Carson and he's similar production and what he produced in Green Bay, I'd like to see that. Other than that, I believe in Pirine as well, so he'd probably be a nice fit there with the Jets, but I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I've got a few shares of Pirine, but yeah, probably Seahawks for me.
Could Brady? They're freeing up some cap space down there in Tampa. Leonard Fournette's a free agent. Could he be like talking to the GM, calling Aaron Jones, saying, "Hey man, you want to win a Super Bowl?" Could Aaron Jones end up down there in Tampa?
He definitely could. I think he's talking to the GM about White. I think James White might sneak over there. But Aaron Jones obviously is an upgrade on White. So,
man, I haven't thought too much about him in Seattle, and I do really like that because they want to run the football. And if Russ stays there, And if they get Aaron Jones, that would be very exciting. That offense would be juicy with DK out there with Lockett and then with Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones is going to get his touches and they're going to feature him. Those other guys will still eat, but I think it's going to, with Seahawks wide receivers, I think it always bounces around. Like it's DK's week, it's Lockett's week, it's third string tight ends week. It's this guy, like you never know what you're going to get. But when it comes from the running back, whoever's starting, he's going to get running back one numbers. So that would be very exciting. Justin, what are your thoughts on Jones?
I mean, I hate the way that the NFL treats running backs, to be honest with you. Like their prime, their best years are early in the NFL. And then when they're up for big contracts, they can't get them because there's so many. I mean, running backs can be had just about anywhere. So they don't get the big contracts that they deserve. And when they do, it's usually not even that big. And then they lose their tread on their tires so early in the NFL that they just kind of become obscure and we don't hear from them anymore. So I really feel bad about all that. So to be honest with you, with a lot of these big names on here, I just don't see a lot of good landing spots for them because they're losing them for a reason. They're becoming free agents and they're going to move on for a reason. They're easily replaceable. So unless they're willing to take big pay cuts compared to other positions, I don't know. Like Aaron Jones is an exception because he is so talented, but like they've got A.J. Dillon right behind them for the Packers, and we know that he's going to be really good. So he's going to step in and fill that role, and Aaron Jones does have to move on. So I'm thinking maybe the Falcons because
I can see that.
We know that Todd Gurley is going to be most likely gone, and honestly, again, I feel sorry for Todd Gurley. I feel so bad for him because he's probably done. I mean, that's his next level in the evolutionary chart for running backs. He's probably done. And then, so yeah, I think maybe the Falcons is a good fit for Aaron Jones, but I also think that the Falcons might be a good fit for Chris Carson as well. So
I think if you're a running back and you want to prolong your career, you got to go play 8 games in a dome, in a controlled environment. Go play in Atlanta. Go play on a fast surface that will feature your speed, your mobility. I think that's a great place for him. I do. I could also see them in the market for a running back in the draft, but I don't think they could afford to take one early on. So if someone lands in Atlanta, they're probably going to have somebody there for competition. But I could see Jones there. Now, Carson, you said Atlanta as well. I think that'd be a good squad for him. I think Carson plays a physical style of football. So wherever he goes, that's going to be something I think they want to showcase. The Jaguars talked about bringing in a running back to go with James Robinson. I don't know if they're going to bring in a top-tier running back. I don't think. But I think Carson to Jacksonville could, you want to protect your quarterback. Get him a tough SOB at running back, to help him out. I think that's, possibly a landing spot, maybe Arizona, you know what I mean? Just a change of pace, physical guy. Matt, you have any thoughts on Chris Carson, where he ends up?
No, not really. But I was going to talk about Mark Ingram. I'm surprised that he signed somewhere. Older running back. I guess he used to like the older guys. So if there's hope for him, there's hope for pretty much everyone on this list. I thought he was done. So who knows?
Rich brought up a good point. Rich said, Carson to the Steelers, that's a physical team that they want to play that style of football. So I could see that as well, man. I think James Conner's out of there. I don't think James Conner I think James Conner's the type of guy you could roster in fantasy football, and he's going to pop up like 2 or 3 weeks a year for the next 2 or 3 years. Like randomly, he'll have like a few games where you're consider starting him, but I don't really think he's a guy. But I could see him in Pittsburgh, But I think these running backs, I think the wide receivers we'll see go off the board quick. But these running backs, I think teams are going to wait till after the draft, because they could fill this position at a much cheaper price by drafting a running back, have him for a few years and let him go, like Justin mentioned. So I don't think Chris Carson's going to sign really quick. Leonard Fournette, I think if he's smart, he'll stay in Tampa. I think he needs to stay there, stay with Brady. And I think he could still be, successful as far as NFL goes with James White there. I don't think he's going to be much of a fantasy asset. Like I said last year, when he signed with Tampa, like he's a playoff guy for them, physical, tough guy. James White will be more of their in-season, scat guy. They'll alternate. Kenyon Drake, James Conner. Do we have any thoughts on these guys, Justin?
I think one of those two guys are probably going to go to the Jets, to be honest with you. I think I know that they got bit by paying Le'Veon Bell a ton of money. They're probably still paying him to not play for them, but I think one of these guys can probably be had for a little cheaper because of the running back market these days, and the fact that these upper tier guys are going to get signed somewhere first. They'll be able to save a little money by signing one of these guys to go along with their rookie quarterback. So, but yeah, so when you get to the next tier, though, that's one I really want to talk about.
The next tier, the next position group.
Next tier of running backs.
Oh, go ahead, man. Have the floor.
Yeah, I'm going a little deep here because I think because we were talking about the Jaguars for a bit, and I do think that they want to bring in somebody to kind of spell Robinson a little bit. I don't think that they want somebody major that's going to take over. I love this area, this group right here of Jamal Williams, Marlon Mack, Malcolm Brown, Phillip Lindsay. It's going to be one of those types of guys that are going to come in and be that backup kind of guy. But obviously, there's a reason I really wanted to talk about it is because I'm highlighting Marlon Mack in that role. He's a division foe, so a lot of teams like to pick up on that so that they can get some of the insides on what the team is trying to do on a week-to-week basis or whatever. And Marlon Mack was starting to play pretty well the previous year before he went down with his Achilles injury. So that's a tough one to come back from. So he's probably not going to have everything it takes to be a lead back, but I think that he could easily come back and still play a decent backup role.
All right, so you heard it there, Marlon Mack, some scat guys. There's a bunch of scat guys in this core of players that could get satellite backs, right? All right, this next position group I think is I like the names at the top a lot. Tight ends. We got Hunter Henry, Robert Tonyan, and Jonnu Smith. Behind that, we got Kyle Rudolph, Jared Cook, Gronkowski, and then below that, we got Burton and Mo Alley Cox, which you'll touch on at the end. But this group is pretty solid for teams that are needing tight end. Patriots are one of them. I know we touched on them a lot, but I think Hunter Henry to New England is a home run. I think it's a fit. It's a fit. They fill that spot, and then they can worry about either drafting a wide receiver or bringing one in like Will Fuller. Matt, what are your thoughts on Hunter Henry? You hoping he lands up there?
Man, I'd be very disappointed if it's not Hunter Henry, if not Jonnu Smith. But I think Hunter Henry is probably a natural fit for the Pats. A real big need there. So that's a no-brainer. It's we're pretty disappointed if he's not a Pat.
Got to think that Hunter Henry, you got Justin Herbert in LA with you. There's got to be a piece of him. I'm sure he wants to get paid, especially with his injury history, right? You get paid. So go where, the top money is, secure your family for, the long term, right? You'll have generational money after this contract. But, you got Justin Herbert up there. There's got to be something enticing about staying and playing with the guy who has the ability he has. But I think, New England going from a young, talented quarterback to an old, brilliant coach, there's got to be something, drawing him on that. So I think that's enticing. Justin, you have any thoughts on Hunter Henry where he could possibly land?
I mean, I agree that the Patriots are a great fit for a guy like Hunter Henry. I'm not sure that they're going to be willing to pay that top-notch money, but knowing that defense is coming back, and I mean, if Hunter Henry wants to make the smart call when it comes to potential to win football games, I mean, they still have Belichick. Like, they're always going to be able to find a way to win games, as much as I hate to admit that. But so it's a smart play by both sides, to be honest with you. So
I also think Buffalo, they have Dawson Knox, but I think Hunter Henry's like, 2 steps above Knox, but they're similar. Like, they have, I think similar athletic ability, but I think Hunter Henry would step right in, and he'd be pretty exciting up there in Buffalo with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. You throw Hunter Henry stretching the field for those guys. That would be, pretty exciting as well.
Yeah, and I think Carolina is a good landing spot for a good tight end as well. I think we got some underperformance there from that position in Carolina last year, and so a guy like Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith, if Jonnu does move on, which I don't think he will, but I think that'd be a good call there. I think Kyle Rudolph is ready to retire. Yeah,
I think Jonnu, when you brought up Carolina, I could see that. I think Jonnu is a good fit for there. I think Tonyan got to stay in Green Bay, right?
Yeah, so as a fan of Packers, because it is my second team, Tanyan's got to stay. Like he has that rapport with Rodgers, and they're dominating and they're winning. But as a fan of Jace Sternberger, Tanyan's got to go and let my guy free.
You were driving the train last year, the Sternberger train.
I'm still driving until it wrecks.
Yeah, Gronkowski. I got to go back to Tampa. Did you already touched on Burton and Mo Alley Cox, right?
Yeah, we're done there. You were kind of cutting out at that time, but we're done with those.
I fixed it though. I went upstairs and I put the hammer down and cut off everybody's. I don't know why. How can the internet be like sapped from other things? And like the internet, it should be out and equally distributed. Like it shouldn't be affected by multiple people on it. But I'm not a science guy. I'm not nice, so I don't know that stuff.
I like how you act like you run that house, because you know good and well as soon as you're done, you're going to go upstairs and they're going to be like, "Dad, come on now."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You need to be earlier.
My wife's gonna be pulling her hair out because
we're gonna start recording at 3 a.m.
Or you're at school. I'm gonna be in my office. I'm gonna have to be at the office using my office internet, which probably be a better thing because I probably won't cut out at all. But all right, that does it for the free agency edition, 2021 free agency edition. To us the titles, we touched on a lot of things. We touched on just the state of the NFL right now, prior to free agency. Things are going to be picking up within the next week. And then we got the NFL draft is like a month away, man. This is awesome. Like this is the best time of the year for me. You'll hear me say that a lot. Like the off season is where hope is is highest. And I love living in the hope, man. And when the season starts and you lose your quarterback week 4 and you're losing Andy Dalton and Zeke's playing like shit, that's the opposite of hope. I'm in the dumps. So give me off season, give me hope, give me the NFL draft. I love this stuff, and I'm super excited for the next few coming weeks. Next week, we got a banger coming on to the titles. We're doing our second off-season Dynasty Startup Mock. We've done them. We're going to do them every month until the season starts. We're going to do one a month so we can see. Now this is going to be like free agency is going to have started, so we're going to have some of those results in before. So hopefully it changes our ADP. Maybe we'll get a little longer. Maybe I'll be a little more short-winded during the show so we can get a few more rounds in. I'll try my best to reel it in. Maybe we'll just go a little bit longer so we can get about 10 rounds in. Matt, you're going to be debuting on the mock. You're going to be doing your first mock with us. Are you excited, my friend?
I'm pumped. I'm keen. We're with the draft with Betty too. We're playing a little league together, so it'll be good to see how he's going to draft for those leagues too.
So you and Ben, you got some history. You're in some leagues together, so you're going to be taking some notes on how he's drafting.
100%.
Hell yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. There's going to be rookies in this mock. Go back and listen. We did a mock a few weeks ago, about a month ago. So go back and listen to that so you can get prepared for this next one. And then the next week, we had Ben on, or within a week or two, live from the Ben, our newest member of the Toys Titles, one of the new members. He came on. He wrote an article talking about it, breaking it down. So not only did he break down our mock, now he's going to get a chance to mock with us. So that's something we got coming up next week. It's going to be very exciting. Everybody, follow everybody on the Toilets to Titles team. All right, go follow Justin at JustinFF_. Go follow Nate at Nate_Dirt19. Follow the show at Toilets to Titles. Follow our friend Matt at Matt Chu, MATCHHOO. Matt, can you give us the background on Matt Chu? What's the Chu in there?
So my Matthew, how you spell it, is MATHIEU. It's actually French. No one in my family is French, but my mum gave me a French name. And so when you say Matthew, it's Matthew. It sounds like a sneeze. So I got called that in school a little bit, and so it just stuck with me, I guess. So there you go.
Yeah,
man, I'm so glad now I can read it like that. Now I read it the way it was meant to be read. So I dig that. All right, you can follow
in our chat, our Toilets Titles chat. I'll be excited when my phone realizes that when I just put one T on Matt, I'm actually trying to say Matt instead of May.
May.
So I'm looking forward to that autocorrect fixing itself.
We need to read.
I get May a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Ben is at live from the Ben. Our other Ben, Eagles Ben, is at BRuden19 at BRUDN19. I am at Coach Sheps. Again, hit the like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel. throw us a 5-star review, take a picture of it, and DM it to us on Toilets to Titles. Go check out When a Family Breaks. Go get in on that Trey Lance Raz. I got a Zach Wilson one. I got Kyle Pitts. I got Rondale Moore. All these rookies, you want to get in on them. I got something with them. You got a chance to win. Also, check out Primetime Sports Talk. We are affiliated with them now. You can find our podcasts on there. And also FusionFFB.com. Get on there because that's where all our articles go. So we appreciate everybody. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for listening. Take care. We'll see you next week for our second mock.